Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I am a professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. There you can contact me if you would like your own private sessions. And I'm teaching classes online. You can connect with me there as well. And Facebook, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. So today what I want to do here is, and this is a new format for me. I've been watching and I've been trying to figure out if I want to do the whole year for each zodiac sign, or if I wanted to continue doing once a month for each zodiac sign. Now that is a huge amount of hours. I can't do it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3-month forecast for each zodiac sign. So January, February, March, or basically the winter months, the winter season, and I will work on that for you. And if you want to see the first part of the winter, you go back and you watch the December forecast for your zodiac sign. Okay, so this intro will be in every video, just so you know. Watch the time. If you want to go watch another one, you can skip past this point. All right, thank you for watching, and let me get started. Okay, Taurus, so let's get started for you, because I'll give you the forecast here for the next 3 months, and some of this information will be very specific for your sign. All right, so for you Taurus or Taurus rising. So first off, we have the full moon in the sign of Cancer. Now that's on January 4th. That's the first event we'll talk about. It's in your third house of communication. Third house is also your local neighborhood, your siblings. So it could be something that you need to speak with or talk to a neighbor about that is very important and you have an emotional connection to, or you need to speak with a sibling in the same fashion. So basically what it comes down to is truly that Cancer energy in that area of your chart is all about communicating, and it's allowing you to see where it is that you need to communicate better. All right, and in a more emotional, or at least in a more compassionate way. It doesn't mean you can't say what you need to say, just say it with more emotion or more compassion. All right, give that a try. We also have 4 Capricorn planets in your 9th house in the beginning of this month, just the very beginning. It was there in December and it's now in the very beginning of January. And so that focus comes in towards education towards your career. So what you're working on, if you're trying to learn something new, or you need some more education to make your career more secure, more solid, or you're trying to advance the 4 planets that you have in that education sector in the early part of January is going to heighten that knowledge that you need to do something as far as getting more education. Now, by the 5th, Mercury and Venus, they both move into the sign of Aquarius, and that is in your 10th house, which is your career sector and the sector of what we call public image, or your social status. I'm going to talk a lot about this for the next few months, just because there's a lot of information going on in that area for you. So this just means that there is some social change for you as far as what your career is and what you're doing in groups in your career. So are you working in big groups? There's a lot of meetings that can go on with energy like this, and there's a lot of communication. Now, we also have Mercury moving to be retrograde soon. So Mercury will be retrograde in that same area. So it's going to be retrograde in your career sector. I have 3 pages of notes here. I can't remember it all, so I'm going to be looking down a bit. So on January 21st, Mercury will go retrograde in your 10th house, your career sector. It's retrograde all the way till February 11th. So what this does is it's a good time for you to rework some things that are going on in your career and at your job, at work. You know, rework these things. There could be a project that got stalled last year, and now's the time for it to get moving again. Go into this retrograde period, as I'll tell everybody, go into your retrograde periods, Mercury retrograde especially, with a list of things to do that haven't been completed yet. This is what you do with this. And for you, Taurus, this is mainly about your job and your work and how that looks out into the world. And group endeavors, because it's Aquarius energy, group endeavors and social connections will be very important this time of year for your career. Okay? All right, I'm just going to move on. If you need to take notes, hit rewind or pause. The new moon at 0 degrees of Aquarius now, that's also in your 10th house. and that new moon is on the 20th of January. So we have the 21st of January, Mercury retrograde. I skipped ahead. I should have put the other one first. Doesn't matter. The new moon at 0 degrees Aquarius, also in that career sector, and that will inspire new ways of thinking. You can set new goals in relationship to your career. All right, this is really, really important that you focus on setting new goals and new opportunities. Now, that's not always easy to do during retrograde of Mercury, but if you work over the next 3 weeks to clear the deck from old projects, then you still will be able to use this new moon in Aquarius. It's at 0 degrees. That's important. Keep that in mind. I'm going to talk about it in a couple minutes. All right? So try not to be indecisive. Try to be really inventive and creative, and try and move. You're a Taurus, you're a fixed sign. Aquarius is also a fixed sign. That can get pretty stuck. So these energies that are present are going to be pushing you, all right, to move forward. Not always easy, especially for a Taurus. Now let's move into February. So in February, we have the full moon in Leo. Now that is on the 3rd of February. It's in the area of your chart that is about home and family and where you live. It's karmic too. But when there's a full moon in Leo, we're looking at our creative expression. We're looking at what we're passionate about. All right, and it's a fixed fire sign, so that just means we might be something very, very exciting for us that we need to let go of. I mean, who wants to let go of something exciting? I know I wouldn't want to, but with Leo in that 4th house as a full moon, that full moon is always about energy all coming together, and it just can cause some sort of explosion or some sort of excitement. So who knows what side of that, the coin that will fall on for you? I don't know. But with that full moon in the 4th house, you're sure to know that there is some sort of activity going on at home in regards to your children, your home, your family. All right? So keep that in mind with that full moon. The Sun in Aquarius and Jupiter in Leo are opposite on February 6th, and this is all about you getting more involved with friends and groups and more social activities, things that have that you're interested in, but something different to focus in on is what you need to do with this opposition. All right, focusing in on something new and something creative and something different for yourself. That's what we want you to do with that energy. Now, on February 6th and 7th, we have Venus and Pluto connected by a 60-degree aspect, and that means our love relationships are feeling harmonious and they're feeling comfortable. And if there is something that needs to change and there's a transition going on in regards to your relationships, then this is a wonderful opportunity for those changes to happen easily. You'll get through them without any big problems at all. Nice, easy transitions. Whatever that means to you. We are close to Valentine's, so maybe there's some place some people will be taking a relationship to another level. Now, on February 11th, Mercury will be going direct, and that means over the last few days and for the coming few days around February 11th, communication might be at a stalemate. It might be at a standstill. It might be a little bit difficult. That, again, is happening in your 10th house of your career. So right around that February 11th, there just could be some issues. So watch for that. Don't push anything. If your boss is looking to push something or not, or you are, I'm telling you, do the best you can just to allow things to either stand still or flow in whatever way they can. Do not force anything around that February 11th time period with Mercury at a standstill, okay? You don't want to do that. Next, I want to look at the full moon on the 18th. That's at 29 degrees of Aquarius, still in your career sector. So your career sector and the area of your chart that is all about how people see you out in the public is really highlighted for the month of February, especially with the two the two new moons, one at 0 Aquarius, one at 29 Aquarius, that right at the beginning and the end of that zodiac sign. So that highlights your career sector from beginning to end. January 20th to February 18th is a big focus for you, and the sun moving through there and the moon, two new moons, your career is going through a shift. The sun enters Pisces on the 18th of February. All right, so that's just, again, that's just a few hours after that new moon in Aquarius. And so when the sun enters Pisces in the evening, that's immutable energy. So we're now in the third zodiac sign of winter / summer, depending on what hemisphere you live in. This shows us that it's a time to be a little more flexible. So on that day, you know, at that ending of that new moon, you know, we're allowing things just to be as they are. And as soon as that sun moves into Pisces, we're able to allow these energies to flow. Now for you, that area is your 11th house. Am I looking? Yes, I am looking. It is at your 11th house. I have my chart over here, my notes down here. 11th house. So that new moon, so the sun in Pisces is, again, it sounds more like Aquarius. It's social endeavors, and it's all about working with groups of people and how you need to be more social. I want you to focus on that. This is something that's big, so you're going to be able to prepare for the next season and prepare for whatever it is that you need to do in your career, because that career is still highlighted. On the 19th, Mars enters his own sign of Aries, so now we finally have a shift, you know, because things are kind of stalemated from February 11th all the way until the 18th. But after that, there's a whole new shift, and especially on the 19th, when Mars enters the sign of Aries in your 12th house, as does Venus on the 20th, enters Aries, and then your 12th house. And then on the 22nd of February, they join together. So this is a little late for Valentine's Day, but basically what this is that's the masculine and the feminine energies in the sign of Aries. This is the lovers. This is the true energy of the lovers, and this is just coming together for physical connections. This describes the masculine and the feminine energy of the zodiac in the sign of Aries in your 12th house. So for you, Taurus, this could be a very spiritual connection. You might meet somebody new or have a relationship already, but there's a whole new component to it. A whole new spiritual essence comes into play for you. Keep that in mind, and that just is a lot of fun, and it's really good, simple, clean energy. So work with that in the way that feels best for you. Next. So on the 23rd of February, the mutable energy of the sun in Pisces makes a square to Saturn in Sagittarius. Now this is a little bit of a mixed bag because the sun squaring Saturn is restrictive, and especially in that square relationship, you know, it can be difficult. There are challenges when their square energies are out there. But this is mutable energy, so meet the challenge without delay. If you feel there's a challenge, meet it, and you'll be able to move through it easily, because both of these zodiac signs that these planets are in is very mutable, so that means it's flexible and it's easy to move forward. So don't resist what's coming into you, all right? What's coming to your life, what's showing up around you, because it's very changeable energy. So keep that in mind, all right? So on the 23rd, I have to scroll my notes here, sorry. I've got 3 pages. On the 23rd and the 24th of February, Venus and Mars will make as a nice harmonious aspect to Saturn, which means we're learning what we want in a relationship, and we're learning this through higher wisdom and possibly through prayer, through meditation, through education. Something is helping us to stabilize the relationship, you know, a very harmonious masculine feminine relationship, and is helping us to stabilize that. With Saturn is helping to harmoniously stabilize a relationship, especially if it's a brand new one. So I'm going to end February with the Sun and Neptune conjunct on the 25th, and that is again in your 11th house. That 11th house is the house of your friendships, your social groups, endeavors, you know, endeavors that are important to you as far as social change, places that you give money to or volunteer time to. All right, the Sun and Neptune are conjunct in that part of your chart at the very end of February. So what we need to do is we just need to allow our spiritual essence to shine. Join a metaphysical group. Go see if you can find a study group about mediumship, or a study group about meditation. See if you can practice that. or go join a choir, because that Pisces energy is singing, it's music, it's metaphysical things, it's spiritual things. So go join a new group. That's all about Pisces. All right? Okay. All right, let's move on to March. Now, on March 5th, we have the full moon in Virgo, and it's in your 5th house. Now, the full moon in Virgo is bringing to our attention the details that we might have been missing with some of the other aspects that are going on and some of the other transits that are going on. So with the Virgo full moon, we are supposed to be paying attention to the details. Now, if you've been paying attention to too many details, you can get a little frozen in that energy, and this full moon might actually help shake you up so there can be some more forward movement. But either way, the full moon in Virgo definitely helps you to helps us to focus in on the what we're paying attention to. This is my house. This is happening in my 5th house as well. I have Taurus rising, so this full moon is all about paying attention to the details. And the details about what? Well, I already mentioned some of them, but it will also be details in regards to what you're passionate about, what you love, and also details maybe if it's your children, there's something going on with your children. That 5th house is about children. So focusing in on those things. Okay, I want to move on to March 10th. There's a nice fire trine between Mars and Jupiter, and it's all about you and what you want and where you're creative and the things you're passionate about. Can't beat that with a stick. That's awesome. So this early part of March is very, very creative. This endless energy on this day that you can use for whatever it is you need. And aspects aren't just exactly on the days that I mentioned, because they are actually applying days and days ahead of time. So we're talking about March 10th, but it can easily be all of the first part of March that you're starting to feel the aspect of Mars making this trine aspect to Jupiter. So Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Leo. Jupiter is retrograde, but that's okay, because you know what? They're both in a fire sign and they're both very energetic. So no matter what, there is some good creative activity going on the first couple of weeks of March, all right? Especially for Taurus, because Taurus, you just love things and decorating and making stuff look beautiful. So this will be very helpful for you and very encouraging as well. The 11th of March, Mars, pardon me, Mars and Uranus are conjunct. Now that's a little bit of a volatile energy. That's just a lot of energy in the sign of Aries. It could be very aggressive. It can be really energy that's right in your face, but it's also can be very motivational. So, excuse me, depending on how you want to use it. Now it is in your 12th house. And that means that you're able to, I want you to look at yourself and look at the things that you're interested in. But I want you to do it from a very spiritual and intuitive perspective. Do these things at night while you're sleeping. You know, set intentions, dream intentions to work through any projects or problems that you might have. Or make sure you spend time meditating, chanting, listening to music, swimming near the water, those things. You know, all kinds of beautiful, you know, nature to try and dissipate the stress that you might be feeling with this transit. Again, Mars conjunct Uranus in Aries, it can be aggressive. Wars have been started with this transit. But for you on a personal place, it's internal. It's in your 12th house, it's internal. So there could be an internal war going on and you need a way to express it. So make sure you do lots and lots of meditation, lots of things that are really healthy for your soul, for your spirit. All right? And just be cautious. Everybody's going to be cautious on this day. March 11th is just a day where a lot of sudden things can show up. And being that's in Aries, we all need to be careful of our heads and our faces. But if we think too much, we might end up just with a headache. But anyways, do that. Pray, meditate, do a lot. On the 14th, Saturn will station and move retrograde for the coming 4 months. And this is in your solar 8th house. Now with Saturn in your 8th house, you know, you've already just for a few months felt the fact that outside resources might be dwindling a little bit, or outside resources are stabilizing some, because it can happen, both of those things can happen. So when Saturn is in that area, and it is for you, Taurus, and as it goes stationary, so that whole week or two around the 14th of March, You know, Saturn really isn't going to move much in either direction. So when it does go retrograde, it just makes outside resources less available to you. So you can learn to rely on your own resources, which is the other side of the chart, which is the second house. Taurus. Huh? Look at that. You are a Taurus, and I'm talking about Taurus. So over the next 4 months, and then Saturn has to retrace its steps. So basically over the first, 6 months from March on, it's going to be, you're going to be redefining how your finances are working as far as credit goes, things like that. All right. If you ever need to know more, you know where to find me. We can do specific readings for you. I have everything on my website at nhastrologer.com. So Venus enters Taurus. Here's a nice thing for you. Venus enters Taurus on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day in the United States. It's in your first house. So this will be fun. You might overdo it on that day, because Venus in Taurus is definitely about the rich luxuries of life. So you might overeat, overdrink, especially if you get a little Irish in you. With Venus in the first house, we're also looking for somebody who is a reliable partner, a reliable lover, or somebody who has physical possessions that make you feel secure. It is a material, in a way, a materialistic energy, but it's also an energy, Venus and Taurus, which is about beauty and kindness. So your focus can shift a little bit during this Venus in the sign of Taurus. Venus in your own sign is beautiful when Venus is in your own sign, because it suits her well. It's the sign she rules. So you get to use the next 3 weeks while Venus is in the sign of Taurus in your first house. You'll be able to even beautify yourself. Might be that time of year where you want to make over. Just make yourself look better, feel better. So consider that. Now, we do have a total eclipse. I want to move on March 20th. And that is at 29 degrees of Pisces. Here we are again at the 29th degree for the whole last half of 2014. All of the new moons were at 0 degrees, and now they've, these last two have shifted to 29 degrees of their respective signs. And so on March 20th, just before the spring equinox, we have the solar eclipse, and it's a new moon. All right, so the moon and the sun are in the same place, and that's 29 degrees of Pisces. This is the end of the zodiac. It's the last degree of 360, and so that means we're at a place of completion. Wherever that 29th degree is in your chart, in your natal chart, is where everything ends. It's where everything culminates, and it is the ending. But now that this is a new moon and in its eclipse, it just means, new moons are usually about planting new seeds, but this is a unique situation where the 29th degree gives us really no opportunities to plant new seeds. It is all about ending something and letting something go. You cannot pick anything else up if your hands are full. So we must set some things down, something. You should know what's overwhelming you at this point in your life. And if you don't, then you are not paying attention to your own life, and get present and do it quick. So put down some things, let some things go with this eclipse. This eclipse on at the 29th degree of Pisces is very, very important for us to complete processes, complete projects. So it's only 13 hours later, 12, 13 hours later, the sun moves into Aries, and we have the spring equinox, and it's the new astrological new year, and it is time for us to start fresh, start new, and plant new seeds, and be ready to immerse ourselves into whatever is new for us, especially with the sun entering Aries. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you very much for watching. Please come back month to month, because this is up for 3 months. Well, I'll just leave it up all year, but they'll be up for 3 months, and that was a lot to listen to all at once. So I hope you joined me. I hope you made it to the end. Thank you for watching, and I want to say blessed be and namaste. Please share, and come find me at nhastrologer.com. Namaste.